Law 3. The scorers. Law 3.1. Appointment of scorers. According to law, there should be the appointments of two scorers in a match, and the duty of these scorers will be to record all runs scored, all wickets taken, and if possible, number of overs bowled. But in different matches, there should be different number of scorers. Like in some boards, in domestic matches, normally one scorer is appointed to record the match. But in TV telecasted matches which are live, there would be the appointment of more than one scorer, one for the media, one as official scorer. Clause 3.2. Correctness of scores. According to this clause, the records of the scorer should be checked by the umpires, and umpires will do this job at every interval other than drink intervals, and also at the conclusion of the match they will check the runs scored, the wickets that have fallen, and where possible the number of overs bowled. It is important that at the end of a match the score sheet should be checked by the umpires to confirm the correctness of scores and every other thing possible, which would be the part of the match. And if it's a live match, then it should be the responsibility of the fourth umpire to check the score sheet if it's a one-day match or T20 match, because normally there is very short time at the end of the day or during the interval to do this. Clause 3.3. Acknowledging signals. According to this clause, the scorer shall accept all instructions and signals given to them by the umpires and shall immediately acknowledge each separate signal. So it's important that scorer should follow the umpire's instructions in all cases, and if the umpires advise them about some correction, about something other, about intervals, they will do the things accordingly. And if there is more than one signal at the same delivery, they should acknowledge each signal separately. And it's also important for the umpires to acknowledge his every signal separately by the scorer. If there's some confusion, he may stop and wait for the acknowledgement of the signal.
Henriques 3-1-5-0, innings time 132 minutes, overs 31.2. I started scoring in 1965 and I've been scoring ever since then, and I became a first class scorer in 2003. We still do everything by hand, and it's just so nice to see the written thing, whereas I score it on computer at grade level sometimes, and it's boring because it's one click and it's done, and you're not concentrating as much, whereas paper scoring, you're really focused and you've done it, you've written it all out. I hope they never do away with it. It used to be male dominated. When I first came into grade cricket, and that was in 1995, there were 20 clubs, and I suppose there were only about 8 female scorers, and for years it was only men and the first class panel, and it wasn't until about 2000 they allowed a woman onto the first class panel. But now it's changed the other way. We have 3 women and only 1 man on the first class panel. When you're on the call, everything has to be right that you send through to the press, so you've got to be spot on at every moment. And like when a wicket falls, you've got to have those minutes and balls and all partnership details ready to go at a drop of a hat. So it's sort of a bit more pressure on the person who's doing the call than the other scorer, but they have got to back you up and agree with what you're calling. I did a call for a 50 partnership once and I was out by about 10 runs. I got carried away thinking that it's coming up, and I called the 50 partnership ahead of time. And yes, so I just corrected it and moved on. The South Africa-Australia Test match, that was my best one, I think. Yeah. The one where Smith broke his arm and he came in at the last moment and they only needed 9 runs to win, and you were sort of hoping, oh, I hope they get it, but I hope Australia wins, sort of thing. And it was such a gutsy performance. I have scored at the Gabba. I did a women's game up there, but yeah, it's not a little less impersonal than down here. It's really great, you know, all the people, you still get to see all the people that you work with throughout the day. They'll pop in and see you, and you know, the ground is just so beautiful. It's because of the heritage buildings, it still has that retaining the old as well as the new, and yeah, it's really good. Oh, I just love cricket. I do, I just love cricket. It's a passion of mine, and just being here and the atmosphere, and it's just great.
There is some technical way to check the scorecard, and in a scorecard, first of all, we have to go through the names of batsmen and bowler of both sides, so that no name may be repeated during the recording of the match and the formation of score sheet. In score sheet, we tally about the number of balls faced by the batsman and check that whether these balls agree with the number of overs bowled, and if there is no ball, then we will count the number of balls as according to the number of no balls bowled in the match. The other thing we have to check is the total score. We add up the total score of all individual batsmen, and then we add all extras in them and the penalty runs awarded to any team, and these runs should agree with the runs conceded by all bowlers, excluding the leg byes and penalty runs. And after this tally method, if all the things are correct, then we will sign the score sheet and give the final result.